Today I am with Mr. Jetendra Gavankar. He is the Managing Director of Safran Helicopter Engines India. Mr. Gavankar, welcome to ET Edge Insights interview series. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Let me begin by asking you, India's growth story has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
So how optimistic are you about this growth story, and what are the factors you think is driving this growth story?
When who is not is my answer to your question, that who is not optimistic about India growth story. We at Safran definitely are very, very optimistic about where India is heading in the coming decade and to the target of Vision 2047, which the government of India has put itself to meet. If you look at the growth 5.5% year on year for the last 5 years, I think we are already the fastest growing economy in the world. From a 3.5 trillion economy today, we are poised to reach 2x, about 7 trillion by 2027 and probably 10 trillion by 2030. Going by that logic, we were not even in the first 10 top economies a couple of years ago, and today we are already in the 5th position. By 2030, we would be just behind US and China. So that is the optimism which is available globally about India. It's not only about the economic size, even the average per capita income for individuals, the Indian thing was going to double. Feeling that we would be soon transiting from a developing to a developed economy, and that's one of the indicators. Keeping the economics aside, what gives me the optimism and the feeling that we would do good as a country in India is also the average Indian aspirations and the entrepreneurial spirit of the younger generation. I mean, these would definitely give anybody, you, me, or anybody who is doing a talk on India optimism, the feeling that yes, we are going to be there as a country in the coming decade or so.
Right. Your company being in the aerospace and defense sector, how do you see the growth with regards to the India growth story, if you want to link it?
As I said in the beginning, that we are very optimistic on India growth, Safran as a company. But if I talk about the sector, in the past, this sector was dominated by the DPSUs primarily, because for obvious reasons, the national security comes first. But in the last 7-8 years, the government of India has unleashed multiple reforms in the sector, which has fueled the private sector participation in aerospace and defense, and they are doing quite good. Some level playing field has been provided, though more needs to be done. But they are collaborating and competing at the same time with now the DPSUs, and that's a good start for the sector. As analysts and media reporters like you call, this sector is already called the sunrise sector for India. So that gives away what the sector is going to be. If you look at the foreign OEMs like us, we are also very bullish in terms of the sector in India, primarily because aerospace, if you see the number of airports which have been, number of airlines which have been coming up, number of aircrafts which have been bought in India. So I just put some numbers to it to give you a perspective.
Right.
From a 72 airport count 10 years ago, we are already 140 plus. Couple of days ago, Civil Aviation Minister gave a statement that the target is 220 by 2025, not so far away. So that is the sector growth which we are seeing. Number of aircrafts, you must have heard about the Air India deal, the Indigo deal of buying. So from a number of 450 10 years ago, we are already 750 aircrafts in these skies, Indian skies, and with these numbers which have been already ordered, 1,000 plus more. So 2,000 aircrafts from a 450 to 2,000. But from my understanding, about 13 to 15% CAGR in the sector is possible in the coming decade. Coming to my company, you must have heard, or people who are in the sector know, that we are investing heavily in India. We are already setting up the world's largest LEAP engine MRO in Hyderabad. We are setting up helicopter engine MRO in Goa. We are already increasing our sourcing from the Indian suppliers. So all this put together is a testimony that the sector is booming, and anybody in this sector, and you could see the market capitalization of HAL, BDL and other defense private sector enterprises in the last year or two. I mean, no other sector has given the kind of returns this has given to the market. So yes, this sector is the sector to be right now.
Right. Carrying on with this India growth story, what are the other sectors you think is on a growth path?
I had did this study a couple of days ago for something else, and let me just go back a little bit in time. So India has been now 75 years plus from independence, and we had our challenges in the past. Generation like me and you would know that there was a challenge of food security in 1960s.
Yes.
We have overcome that with the green revolution, the pink revolution, the blue revolution, white revolution. So all this have been a catalyst for that time, more of a stability than of a growth. We also successfully overcome the balance of payment crisis of 1980s and the economic crisis of the 1990s. So with all that which has happened in the past, we have now reached a stage where we are. And since you are asking what sectors could be probably accelerating this growth story, I think manufacturing is one sector where we were not there yet, but in the last couple of years you could see it picking up. From services dominant GDP, we need to bring in an equal or close to an equal ratio for manufacturing, and the numbers which I read were something like 16% today is our manufacturing sector contribution to GDP. A target is 25% by 2025. Yes. It's a good growth, I feel. Of course, agriculture is without saying, because we are a 1.5 billion people, yes. We need to feed them, if not the world. So agriculture is one thing which will grow. There are various aspects of it, we will not dwell there. The other industries, the new technologies, where India is doing quite well, would continue doing is, if I may put some fintech is another area. The alternate energy, green energy. We are also probably going to do well on the drones segment, an unmanned segment. AI ML based sectors would do well. We have the strength and the know-how there. And of course, traditionally we have been good in IT, pharma and healthcare. So LT pharma, healthcare, I think would continue to do well in the coming decades, right, and could be a very good growth drivers for India growth story.
Right.
And of course, we touched upon how the aerospace segment is going to be.
Right, right. So you've pretty much summed it up, the remarkable growth story. One last question, your message to investors who want to invest in this India growth story.
Actually, my message is not a real need here, because as you see, the amount of FDI India has been attracting in past 3 years is very specific in every sector. I mean, you touch a sector and there is an FDI. You see what's happening in the market. Earlier, Indian capital market used to be dependent on government funding, government capex, and private sector capex was a push which really was given, but today it is not required. So I mean, investors from outside India, inside India are readily investing in the sectors, because everywhere the growth is being seen. I don't have to really advise. I mean, it's written all over the wall wherever we attend such seminars and events, that everybody wants to bet on India, because as obviously said, the fastest growing economy, who doesn't want to bet? So that's going to be there, the mainstay.
Right. On that note, thank you very much for your valuable insights. I wish you all the best for your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.